Hey y'all, I'm here today to talk about um, some ideas or things that I do to save on my winter heating bill. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time, and I guess there was a bit of a sign from the universe because one of my subscribers asked me to said, "Hey, she was watching the one that I did. It's called lowering utilities or something like that. And when I had done that one, it was of course in the summer. And she said, "Hey, how about doing an updated, doing an update for the winter?" I said, "Okay, that sounds like a good idea." So that is what we are here for today. My name is Msfullroller Cera. Thank you so much for being here and watching my video. I really appreciate that. What I talk about on this channel is a little bit of everything. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now the reason that I wanted to do this video is because, of course, we all know, everything is going up and up and up and up. And I wanted to show, the things that I do in order to, save on my heating bill. Now, of course, the things that, and what we're going to talk about today is going to be a little bit different than what, you normally hear. What they normally tell you to do is, of course, weather strip, put in, install the thermal E E what is it, E coated or E whatever, triple pane, double pane windows, um, add insulation to your attic. I think I mentioned weather stripping already. Put up storm windows. Put the inside storm windows. The shrink. Put the plastic on there and shrink it with the hair dryer. I guess people are still doing that. I know we used to do it back every winter when I was growing up as a kid. Things like that. However, just about everything I named off with the exception of the plastic that you put over the windows and, shrink down with the blow dryer. All of those options are pretty expensive, to do. And if you're living in an apartment, the only thing that might be available to you that would be available to you is the plastic, the indoor, they call them the indoor storm windows, with where you shrink that plastic on there. But even that might not be available to you at all. So what I wanted to do was share other ways that you can you know conserve your heat. And that is the purpose for doing that, is to conserve the heat that you are paying for, to put out in your room, whatever heat source you're using, whether that be electric, gas, oil, or even, your wood stove. But that, of course, conserves that heat. And, you're doing all that to try to slow the process of the heat transferring, eventually transferring outdoors, through your walls. But like I said, that's pretty expensive. And then, for some folks, that's not even an option. So we are still going to conserve your heat, but it's going to be conserving your heat starting with your heat. And when I say your, I am talking about your body heat. Now, of course, right? We are on average, our body temperatures is around 98.7. That sounds like a radio station, right? But yeah, your radio station is about 98.7, 98.6, 98.5, something, around that range. And of course, 98 degrees, especially in the summertime, is pretty darn hot. So, the object of the game, just like, when you install your storm windows, when you add extra um, insulation, put the weather stripping on, you're trying to conserve that heat. That's what we're going to, the tips that I'm, things that I've done or what I use or whatever. Um, that's the object. You're conserving your heat, keeping that body heat in. Now, of course, in the summertime, you're trying to dissipate that heat. But in the wintertime, you want to, trap that heat in as much as possible. So that is what we're going to talk about today. I've got about, a few things that I want to talk about that I do. Um, and of course, you're already getting a little bit of a hint of it right there, but I will go into as, detail. That's how I am about the things, that I do to help conserve my heat. And therefore, because like I say, you want to conserve your heat so that you feel warmer. If you feel warmer, then you are less likely to crank up the thermostat, because the more you crank up the thermostat, the higher your winter heating bill is going to be. Now, yes, you can walk around in a tank top, because I've heard people, I've had people say, I'm not going to put on all them clothes and sit around the house. Well, like I say, that's cool. You are free to wear a tank top and Daisy Duke shorts. But I'm going to just keep it 100. Don't get upset when you're paying a mortgage, when your heating bill, whatever your heating source that you use, when you get that bill, because it's going to be high as a kite. So, like I say, that's what we're here for. If you want to save, save a little bit, then stay tuned. All right. One of the things that you want to do is wear layers, but not just any layers. You want to wear proper layers. And what do I mean by that? Proper layers meaning the right type of material. As I mentioned earlier, like I say, you want to wear layers, meaning you are wearing multiple items of clothing. Now, of course, in the summertime, you want to wear the least amount, that you can. Basically, only one layer of clothing, in one layer, of course, in addition to your underwear. But in the wintertime, you want to add at least one more layer, if not two layers. You know, sweaters, which we will talk about later. You want to wear multiple layers of clothing. The more layers you have on, the warmer, that more that it traps that body heat in. Again, the warmer you feel, the less likely you will want to crank up the thermostat. And the lower you can keep the thermostat, the less your utility bill is going to be. So yes, you want to wear layers, and by proper layers, meaning, of course, we do tend to wear more cotton in the summer. You don't necessarily want to do that in the winter. You want to wear your polyesters, your acrylic fabrics, which would be like your knits, your crochet, type thing, because most of your yarn is acrylic type material, fabric, threads. Probably all the wrong terms, but you get the drift. That's what you want to wear. And if you do have to wear cotton, only make that just one layer. But wearing 2 layers, 3 layers of cotton, a cotton materials, it's not going to keep you as warm as you say just one layer of wool, or one layer of acrylic, or even one layer of polyester. because of, it's not trapping in that moisture. So, yes, you'll want to wear layers and wear the proper layers. Okay, let's move. The next thing we want to talk about is cover your head. And as you can see, and have if you've been watching me for the last month, couple of weeks, because we did have some days where it did get warm. But yeah, definitely the last 2 to 3 of my Saturday lives. And by the way, a little plug. I go live on Saturday evenings at 9:30 p.m. Central. We have been doing R&B music trivia. And yes, you have seen me wearing this hat right here. Yes, cover your head. Our heat escapes out of the top of our head. So if, again, remember, and you're going to hear me repeat this throughout this talk. The object is, because you are a walking heater. You want to trap that heat in as much as possible. And wearing a hat or wearing some type of covering, it doesn't necessarily have to be a hat like this. It doesn't necessarily have to be a knit hat, even though I do wear a knit hat in my house. Hold on a second. I will show it to you. Okay, here's this is the one I typically wear most days. And I will have this. Now, this is your polyester, silky polyester thingies, especially for us naturalistas. When you're wearing your wool and knit hats, outside, you'll want to wear something like this underneath. But yeah, I'll have this on and that hat. I've got another, little knit hat that I wear sometimes, depending on if it's a little bit warmer, I'll have this on. And I'll wear this one because it's got the so you can see it through it. It's got the little holes in there. But when it's a little bit cooler, especially when those temperatures get down into the teens and the 20s, which in the area that I live in, even though I don't have this type of weather all the time, or for the most of the winter, thank goodness, we do occasionally get some snow. At least it seems like at least once in the last few years, at least once a year, and we get those temperatures where it's down in the 20s, it's down in the teens, so it's pretty, it's pretty cold. So then, I wear my other hat. But yes, I wear a hat inside my house. Like I said earlier, I ain't trying to send all my money to the utility company. Okay. But now, some of you, just this thing, something like this might be enough. A scarf, tie a scarf around your head. Do rag, something. Put something on your head because it will help you feel warmer. And again, you'll hear me repeat this. The warmer you feel, the less likely you will want to turn up the thermostat. The less that you use, the less that your bill will be. So, all right, let's move on. Okay, the next thing is the good old fashioned thermal underwear, aka long johns, aka long hammers. Yes, y'all. Long hammers are essential in the winter time. And for those of you, I am from a cold weather state. And for those of you who live in the cold weather areas, y'all know exactly what these are. There shouldn't be too much explanation, but they are just as useful inside your house. Because as I said earlier, and I'm going to continue to repeat throughout this talk, the warmer you feel, the less likely you will want to crank up the thermostat. The lower you can keep the thermostat, the less money that you'll have to pay. on your winter heating source. So, for those of you who don't know what long hammers thermal underwear looks like, now these are the old fashioned type, and I will say before I show you these, if you're in the area of the country that I live in now, um, for you ladies, I'm just gonna warn you. If you're like me, um, I had a hard time finding thermal underwear, and I don't know why I'm still wearing that. Had a hard time finding thermal underwear in the ladies department. So yes, I have men's thermal underwear. Now these are clean and these are mine, but this is what they look like, and I'm trying not to show the brand name. But yes, y'all know, y'all should be familiar with these. I have some gray ones and I've got some black ones. I am wearing a pair of these. Right now, I have the black ones on. And they also have the thermal made out of the same material. And I'm going to show it from the back so that the label doesn't show. I don't know if you can see the material as good. The shirt, long sleeve thermal shirts. And y'all, this is just as I've just started. Was it last year? No, year before last, 2018. Just started back. I had to buy these. I bought these in 2018. Yeah, made a huge difference in the comfort level, in trying to keep that thermostat down. Because like I said earlier, I ain't trying to send all my money to my utility company. Okay. All right. So yes, good old thermal underwear. Like I said, ladies, don't, hey, you want to stay warm, you might have to go to the men's section. And another thing, and I don't know why they do this. If you happen to be in an area of the country where they do sell, you can find them in the big box stores. For ladies, I would still say slide on over to the men's department and compare prices. I would not be surprised if the men's thermal underwear will be cheaper than the women's. And hey, this is going under your clothes. You're not wearing this on the outside. So save a few bucks there if you are able, if it's available in the women's department. Go ahead and get you some men's ones. You're wearing them up under your clothes anyway. Ain't nobody gonna see them. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Oh, I forgot to mention. Let me get it up there where you can see it for the ladies, because you guys ain't gonna be wearing these. Tights. Tights work just as good. I have had tights and definitely worn tights. Growing up, because like I said, I'm from a cold weather where we had winters like this. But I prefer the long underwear versus the tights. The long underwear for me feel much warmer, but you guys might like the tights. So I wanted to make sure to mention that as a option, for your legs. Okay. Okay. The next thing, and this is a group of articles of clothing: sweaters, turtlenecks, and scarves. Now, as you can see, I'm sort of sporting two of those. This is not really a sweater. It's actually a corduroy, and I meant to put that on here as another material as well. It's an old-fashioned corduroy shirt that I kind of wear as an outer garment, or an outer layer, so to speak. And I am wearing a scarf. Now it is not cold enough here for me to have a sweater on. Excuse me. And if I did, okay, sorry about that. Had to get a little bit of water. Um, if I was wearing a sweater, then that would be probably the only layer um, that I would be wearing. And of course, your sweaters you want to get, if at all possible, a wool sweater or acrylic sweaters. Those materials are very, very warm. They don't necessarily have to be, really thick in order to be warm. Because remember, the object is you want materials that will kind of allow your natural perspiration to wick away and to not be near your skin, but not go into the material that where it's wet and hit that cold air, and then that's of course going to make you cold. So yes, sweaters, turtlenecks. The turtleneck you want that because that is covering your neck, so that's less of your skin that's exposed. Again, trapping your body heat in, so that you're less likely to turn up the thermostat, therefore save yourself some money. If you're not wearing a turtleneck, which I am not wearing one, then a scarf will serve that purpose to, cover up your neck. And yes, I wear this scarf. I like this one. If you can find, especially for wearing, inside the house, you'll want more of your, say, I guess you would say clothy type scarves because they're going to be thinner. And this works beautifully, and this is a nice long one, so I can kind of stuff it in there and cover some of my shoulders, cover some of my arm, and I'm nice and toasty. And yes, I do. I walk around my house like this. Sometimes it's this hat, just like I'm sitting here. Most of the time it's that pink because you've seen me wear that one before. That pinky purpley, um, like kind of jacket. Sometimes I'll wear it just as one layer. Sometimes I'll have two layers on. Just depending on just how cool it is. And yes, I'll have a hat on. It might be this one for the most part. It's the knit hats that I showed you earlier. And keep it moving. Because like I said, I ain't sending all my money to the utility company. I just can't do it. So all right, I think that is pretty self-explanatory there. Okay, the next little thing that I wanted to mention, wrist warmers, and I think that's the right term. That's what I'm going to call them. And now, as you've already seen it, now this is not actually one that I purchased from the store. What I did was I made my own wrist warmer, and I made it from an old sock. This sock has some wool in it. It's kind of like a wool acrylic blend. It's real old. This sock is going on 30 years old. I've had it for that long. Matter of fact, it was since high school. I told you I don't get rid of stuff. Um, and because it was so old, see how that's the heel. I think that's the heel. Yeah, that's the heel of the sock or part of the sock. It was tearing like that, and I almost threw them away. And something said, "Hold on to it." And I got the idea, um, because I see people who live in cold climates like Canada. You see them with, kind of that the wrist warmer thing on, and I said, "Wait a minute, I can use that sock." So I cut the bottom out, and that's what I use as my wrist warmer. And this is nice because it takes up some of that space because your sleeve is going to have some space in there. Whatever sleeves, your sleeves, even if you have your layers, you're still going to have some room there. And that just kind of takes up some of that space, covering that skin, trapping in the heat. Therefore, I stay warmer. Therefore, I'm not trying to, crank up the heat. So yes, that's another way, to to so that you stay warmer, so that you're not tempted to crank up the heat. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, the next item or topic thing or whatever, wool or acrylic socks. Now, this is critical. You do not want to be wearing, especially if your feet sweat, you do not want to be wearing cotton socks. Your feet will freeze. So, yes, you want to wear wool or acrylic socks. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Now, as I mentioned earlier with the thermal underwear, the same thing here in my area. I could not find wool or acrylic socks in the ladies section. So while I was over there getting my thermal underwear, I got me some wool and acrylic socks in the men's section. Okay. Like I told y'all, I'm trying to stay warm. So forget all the other stuff. I don't care. Ain't nobody gonna see it no way. And even if you do, if you got a problem with it, so what? But yes, you want to get um, acrylic socks. Now, what I do is I wear the acrylic socks as the inside layer, and here is I just bought me some more because I only had two pair of the acrylic socks. I wear the acrylic socks as my first layer, and then I'll wear the wool socks as the second layer. And then on those really really cold days when those temperatures are in the teens and in the single digits, I will have on actually three pair of socks because my issue, my feet do sweat, and I have suffered with very cold feet for decades. And I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Now I did have this pair of socks, um, but I did not know the difference. As far as wool, the properties of certain materials for winter. I just found this out in 2018. So I have only been doing the wool socks thing, wool and acrylic socks for the last couple of years. And yes, one thing I do want to also stress to you all: make sure, like I said, that's when I keep bringing up. Make sure when you're buying your thermal socks, look for, and you probably got to take some time to dig around, but look at the package, look at either the front, and really actually turn it over and look at the composition and look for wool, because most of your thermal socks that are sold today have cotton in them. You do not, you absolutely do not want cotton for your winter socks. So yes, dig around. Walmart does have them now. At least my Walmart, I don't know, like I said, could be because of the area of the country that I'm in. The ones, these, because I just bought these a couple of weeks ago, these have less wool in them than the ones that I purchased 2 years ago. These, the highest ones that I could find was, and I'm looking at them right now, so that's why I'm looking down. 46%. It's 46% wool, 35% polyester, 18% nylon, and 1% spandex. The ones that I have, the composition was had more wool in them. I think one of them had 50, I think it was 52% of 54% wool, and then the other pair was uh 52. Yeah, I think it's what it was like 54, 56, and 52. I could not find any of the 50%. So, um, I got those. Now you can go online to a uh, place that sells camping gear and hiking gear. I do have a pair of those. Um, and those had the 62. These here um, had 62% of the merino wool, 34% nylon, stretch nylon, 2% polyester, and 2% spandex. Now, if you go online to the camping store, they will be way more expensive. One pair of these, um, yeah, that's that. They're right here. One pair of these cost more than, and this is a two-pack of, a two-pack of from Walmart. But I like these because they are thinner than than these are from Walmart. They're much thinner. Yeah. So these are nice to wear. I saved, my high price ones. These that are much higher. These are called Wigwam. Um, I save those for when I'm going out. I have to go out somewhere in the wintertime to wear inside my boots. But yes, make sure they say that do not, no cotton socks. You do not want to be wearing cotton socks because these wool socks have just they have been a game changer, a life changer for me. So yes. All righty, let's move on to the next item. Okay, the next item is flannel, flannel pants, flannel shirts. Yes, maybe not the sexiest, but the object is not trying to be sexy or cute. The object is to stay warm, to trap the body heat in so that you're not tempted to crank up the thermostat and therefore save money on your heating bill. And yes, I am wearing a pair right now. Yes, and they are surprisingly, though they are thin, they're not thick flannel, and they're not the flannel of the flannel of the old days. The materials have definitely gotten better. But these pants are actually quite thin, but they are warmer. I'm wearing the flannel. I'm wearing my long hammers. Yes, I got on my long hammers. If I didn't mention that already, I'm wearing a pair of long hammers. Um, they're actually warmer than my thickest, and I've got some thick jeans that I wear. The my jeans that I wear around the house or at home, and these thin flannel pants are warmer than those thick pair of jeans because, of course, jeans are what? Cotton. So yeah, flannel shirts, flannel pants, and if you've got flannel material, you can also use them as bed sheets. Yes, that would trap your body heat in. Yes. So good old flannel. Okay. The next item we're going to talk about is thin um, or your tapestry throws. Now, I'm sure some of y'all got grandparents, maybe even your parents who had, these throws that you would find over the couch or over the lounge chair, especially if you live in a cold weather climate. I'm sure y'all done seen these. But these were really common in the 80s. They had kind of flowery material. And then on the reverse side, you know, I don't know exactly, how you call these. But yes, these bad boys are the material. They're thin. However, it's almost like kind of a woolen knit. Like a yeah, it's kind of like a woolen knitting. Very warm, nice and warm, and these are quite versatile because they're large enough. Of course, to throw over your legs. They're large enough to wear, to put it over your shoulders. Now it's going to be kind of hard for me to do that, really show you. There you go. You kind of get the gist. Throw it across your shoulders. Um, you can tie it around your waist, and it, will make a long skirt as another layer over your legs, trapping that body heat in. Yes, you can then, throw it over your bed, as an extra layer at night, to keep from you can turn your heat down even lower when you're sleeping. And yeah, to keep that, trap that body heat in, because that's the object. Trap that body heat in. So that's another option. And definitely I use it. That's when I had to pull it up, because now I got to pull it back down over my legs. Yes. All right, let's move on to the next point. Okay, the next point, fleece. And oh gosh, I meant to pull that up. Yes, get you some fleece material. It is not that expensive, at least here where I am. It is about, I think it was about two. Sometimes on sale you can get it like $2 a yard. I think regular price it's about $3 a yard. A yard is definitely enough. It would be about the same size as this throw, which is, plenty enough room to, like I said, throw it over your legs, tie it around your waist to wear it as a skirt, throw it over your shoulders to wear as put on as a shawl, as another nice thin layer, but that traps in the warmth, because there's no cotton in this material. Now here's one of my pieces. Now this one is pretty large. This one is probably, it's either 2.5 or 3 yards. And I also used, because I also use these not only as throws or blankets, but I also use these as a top sheet, my top sheet. And I've got another one to use as a bottom sheet. Again, ooh. Now I have to credit my husband with that idea. I had bought some of these bought pieces of, and this is just raw fabric, just raw fabric. Um, I had bought some to use as throws, and I had bought. There was some on sale, and it was still on, quite a bit on the what do you call it, the bolt. So I said, well, hey, just give me the rest of, what's on the bolt. And I didn't realize it was like 2.5 yards. So my husband got the idea. He said, let me lay it out, on the as a bottom sheet. And it makes the bed so much warmer when you get in it. Now of course, um, your materials is gonna be whatever the room temperature is. But however, once that extra heater gets in there, it doesn't take as long for you to warm up, because you've got this on there instead of, say a cotton, of which your sheets are normally made from. So yes, get yourself some pieces of fleece fabric. It is, like I say, very versatile, um, and inexpensive. It is probably cheaper than, buying the flannel sheets, or I guess you can get fleece sheets, but I'm pretty sure those are probably quite a bit more expensive. And like I say, this is versatile, way more versatile. And because it's not as expensive as say this, the sheets would be, I wouldn't be so upset if something happened to them. I will warn you, if you are using these as your bottom sheets and or your top sheet, um, they the fabric is not as wide as a sheet would be. So what I have done is that my husband has his own. We each have our own set, basically. We have our own bottom sheet, and our own top sheet. Because before we were using just the one, and we were fighting over it because like somebody turns over and they don't pick the cover up and turn over, and they just turn over with it, and then you wake up and you wonder why you cold. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna solve this one. So he has his own set, a top sheet and a bottom sheet, and I got my own top sheet and the bottom sheet, and then I have an extra one that we each can use as a throw to keep from having to take one of those off and on. So yes, that is an inexpensive option, and you will love it. You will love it, and you can get it in whatever colors of course are available and what you want. And as you can see, mine is purple because that's my favorite color, and I have not been able to find no purple sheets, so that was a win-win. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, the final thing I have for you is a wool blanket. Yes, wool blanket. Now, wool blankets are, because wool is a natural material, it's not, it's not like most of our blankets that are man made type material. And fleece, by the way, is a man made material. Um, but wool blankets will keep you warm. Definitely will keep you warm. And also, if um, they get damp, and they can get a little damp, especially if you're like me, you like to pull the covers all the way over your head. That's another way that I keep warm. Keep that, trap that body heat in. And of course, if you're breathing on it, you might get that condensation. Wool blanket will still stay, you will still stay warm. It can get, now I haven't tried it. I don't necessarily want to try it, but I have heard that this blanket, a wool blanket, can get wet and you will still stay warm with it. Um, they are very hard to find. This particular one is from, believe it or not, Harbor Freight. It is not necessarily meant to be used as bedding, but in my quest to, try to save on my heating bill, because our winters seem to be getting colder, or we're getting more of those, very, very cold days, cold nights than we used to. And to find something to find ways to try to save money on my heating bill, um I'm not even sure how I ended up finding out about Harbor Freight, but oh, I know, from the vanning community. And it wasn't necessarily the wool blanket, it was the moving blankets, because a lot of people were using those as blankets, um, to put either for bedding or for other reasons, which I'll probably cover that in another video. So this one, because this one is already long enough, so I'll come back with a part two of some other things that I do. um, but yeah, that's how I found out about it. And in looking for that blanket, I saw that they had wool blankets. So I will warn you that their blankets do have a bit of a smell, because like I say, they are not necessarily meant or sold for bedding, but if you look in the comments, a lot of people are using them for that. It takes a few months, but the smell does go away. But yes, and they were only, I don't know how much they are now, but when I bought these in 2018, and I bought 10 of them, this particular one, it's, because there's no way I could fold it this nicely. And you still see that big old tag down there. That one's still new, but they were $20. So I think I bought about 10 of them. Yes, because I use them for, the blanket, the beds, and other purposes as well. But I have seen them on Amazon. I will also warn you too that even the ones on this one and the ones on Amazon, they are only, let's see, hold on a second, because I got the package right here. They are, the size is 60 by 80. So that is much smaller than your full size bed. Now it will probably cover a twin size bed very good. At least widthwise, it won't lengthwise. But yeah, that's a little bit smaller. So you that's the other reason too, that I got so many, so that my husband can have his and I can have mine, and we're not fighting over it, or somebody ended up being cold because you done turned over with it, and because it's not like a normal blanket, um, and everybody will still be warm. The ones on Amazon, and that one, let me say that too, is 80% wool, which is still good, and it's not scratchy either. But the ones on Amazon, I did see some that were, I think, 60 by 90. I think those are a little bit more expensive, but yeah, we'll still do the job. We'll still do the job. If you have an army surplus store and you don't mind the olive green blankets, because those blankets were wool, and I think the army blankets are probably 90% wool. They may even be 100% wool. But yes, well worth it. And that, again, 2018. That I'm just, now finding out about it. But okay. I have covered everything that I wanted to talk about. So if you all, I hope that was helpful. I know it was pretty lengthy, but I wanted to make sure that I, covered everything and go into detail as to why you might want to, use each, each one of these. I'm looking at the thing there. Want to use each one of those, each one of the items. Because, like I said, the goal is to trap in your body heat so that you feel warm. And if you feel warm, you're less likely to want to crank up the thermostat, because the more you crank up the thermostat, the higher you set that temperature. Because if you're not hardly wearing any clothes, you're going to be cold if it's cold like this outside. So yes, these are ways to trap in your body heat so that you feel warm, and you can keep your thermostat at a lower temperature, and thus save on your heating bill. So I hope that was helpful. Like I said, I know it was lengthy, but I wanted to go into the whys and the details, and kind of cover all of that in that part in one. I will maybe do a part two on some of the other little things that you can do, or that I definitely have done and still doing. But yes, that will be for another video. So thank you very much. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, make sure that you subscribe, hit that bell, and yeah, we will see you all next time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.